My name is Mike. I'm an addict. Hello, Mike. I want to thank God for everything. I'm clean and alive through God's grace, God's mercy, the program, Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous, and I'm grateful to be clean. I'm grateful to be alive. I want to thank Precious and Jeff for carrying our message. Can we give them another round of applause? And acceptance, love, and faith. And my topic is faith. And I was thinking about how the 12 steps has taken me on a journey to develop my faith from a place of fear when I got here to a place where I believe I have a strong faith that's rooted in the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous and my relationship with God that I didn't have when I got here, but I have a relationship with God today because of the 12 steps, because of sponsorship, because of the group, because of the men that I surround myself with, and because I was willing to actually follow a little bit of direction to go to any lengths, not just to stay clean, but to grow in my faith, to grow through the 12-step process, to get to a place of acceptance with a lot of things that I didn't know how to accept when I got here, to learn how to love and receive love and open myself up to the love that's available in Narcotics Anonymous and the love of God that can work through other people, that can transform my heart, that can transform my mind, that can transform the way that I live, that can transform the way that I speak, that can transform the way I show up to work, that can transform the way that I drive, that can transform every little thing, not just on the outside, but on the inside, because that's where it really matters. And when my faith develops to a place where I'm willing to actually continue to walk through life on life's terms and not allow fear to paralyze me anymore, I understand that God gets all the credit and I just need to put a little bit of willingness to continue to show up to meetings, show up to my home group, use my sponsor, use other recovering addicts, and allow the program to continue to work in my life, because my ego will kill me in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous if I don't learn about humility, because humility has the ability to for me to receive the help that's available. And understand that I don't have all the answers. When I used to think I had a lot of them. And I found out very, very early on in recovery that I didn't have any of them. And you guys told me that the solutions are in the steps. They're our survival kit. They're our defense against addiction. So if I'm not working and living the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, I'm going to be left defenseless against the disease of addiction. That I will slowly commit suicide in the rooms clean. And I don't want to live that way anymore. I'm going to read one thing. And it's out of the third step, and it works how and why. And it says, our relationship with our higher power grows stronger as we practice faith. In our experience, talking to a power greater than ourselves works. When we are having trouble in a particular area of our lives, or when we feel unable to stay clean, our higher power can help. We only need to ask. With our prayers, we ask a power greater than ourselves to care for us. Each time we take this action, we strengthen our faith and our decision to rely on our higher power. Step 3 doesn't free us from having to take action, but it does liberate us from excessive worry about the results. If we want something, a job, an education, or recovery, we have to make the effort to get it. Our higher power will take care of our spiritual needs, but we need to participate in our own lives. We can't simply sit back and expect God to do everything. We are responsible for our own recovery.
That's right.
And I was thinking about something. When I was in high school, believe it or not, I took photography class as a junior.
That's all right.
Yeah. And I remember having to go into the dark room
Come on.
for the pictures to be developed.
Oh, come on, bring it.
And I was thinking about my faith. How my faith doesn't grow in the light, it grows in the dark. My faith doesn't grow when I'm up here, it grows when I'm down here, when I'm in the valleys of life. When things aren't going the way that I thought they should go, when I don't get my way, when people die, when I lose a relationship, when I may fall in financial difficulties, it's in those moments where my faith has the ability to develop to a place where I believe that God will do His part as long as I do mine. And I found out when I got clean that I didn't know anything about faith. All I knew was fear. All I knew was resentment. And all I knew was anger. Anger, resentment, and fear. Talks about in the triangle of self-obsession how it's at the heart of my insanity. So in order for something to die, the heart needs to stop beating.
That's right.
So the anger, the resentment, and fear need to be put to death in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous for me to get to a place of acceptance, love, and faith. But it talks about the 12 steps being the solution, not just my clean date. Even though my clean date's the most important thing that I got, September 12th, 2007 is when I got clean. I stopped using drugs. And Jeff talked about being a gift. And a gift is something that's freely given. It's not something that I earned. God's grace is not something I can earn. It's something that was freely given to me. I didn't earn my seat in Narcotics Anonymous. I was graced with my seat. God gave me a gift, but it's my responsibility to keep the gift that God gave me and go to any lengths to actually keep it. So that's why getting a sponsor was so important. My first year clean, I was on house arrest. I was looking at prison time when I showed up here on 80 milligrams of methadone. Eventually I got a clean date. My first year, when I had 2 months clean, I got sentenced to a year of house arrest with 4 years probation. And eventually I got a sponsor. I was going to meetings every single day. But I was still filled with fear. I was filled with worry. I always worried about results, even if I was putting the footwork in.
Yes.
So I started putting some footwork in, but I still was filled with worry. Where's this going to lead me? Am I going to be taken care of? So I learned to write the steps and read the steps and talk about the steps before I lived the steps. And that's okay. That's the process. So I put my faith in other people. I put my faith in NA. I put my faith in the program. And then it got to a place where I started to learn how to put my faith in the God of my understanding. And trust Him with the results in my life. And I may still experience some doubt, and I may still experience some fear, but I have faith to combat that now. That I'm not going to stop walking just because I'm scared. I'm not going to allow it to paralyze me. If I wanted a different career path, I need to put the effort to get it. If I want an education, if I want recovery, I need to go to any lengths. So I started opening up the basic text. I started writing on step work. I started to pray. I started to develop relationships with other members of Narcotics Anonymous that had more faith than me. How about this? I need to surround myself with people who have more faith than I do. Ultimate weapons for recovery. I need to surround myself with people that are more humble than I am. That are more mature than I am. Because that's how I'm going to get the help that I need. So I started to find out that the hard times I had to walk through were going to be the very things that developed the faith that I needed to continue to live the life of recovery. So I got clean in a difficult situation. My mom was using, my older brother was using. I was going home to 2 using addicts. I was on house arrest. I felt trapped. But I was allowed out to go to meetings, work in meetings, so that's what I did. You guys rescued me. I have a rescue story here. God rescued me. He had a plan for me. See, my faith today is in His plan, not the plan that I want. Because I've made plans in my recovery. I've made plans in my life. And they didn't turn out the way that I thought they were going to turn out. So what do I do when my life doesn't turn out the way that I think it's going to turn out? That's when I'll find out if I really have faith. If I'm really rooted in faith, or if I was just pretending and perpetrating a fraud in my own life. Not so much with you guys, but in my own life. I'm talking like when nobody's looking. Like I'll know if I have faith or not. I could come here and tell you I have faith, but see, God and myself are the ones that really only know if I have faith. Because you guys don't necessarily see me walk through the things I need to walk through in my life. There are battles that I fought, or that God has fought for me, in the dark. But I need to learn about surrender. So it was a difficult situation when I got clean, but I was going to meetings, I was building this foundation that we talk about here. I got a sponsor, I got involved with the fellowship, I got involved in service, and I started my step process. And I had anger in my heart. I was so angry with my reality that I didn't know how to accept it. I wanted it to change. I wanted my reality to change so I could be more comfortable. But that's not the truth. See, when my circumstances don't change, that's because God's trying to change me. As difficult, as frustrating, as sad as it may be. So I learned about commitment. I learned about continuing to show up even when I didn't want to. And that's what I did because you guys showed me that. You guys taught me that. I learned about the spiritual principles here before I can apply them outside of here. And as I continue to live this process, God's going to place me in positions where issues arise. The fourth step talks about that. So when these issues continue to arise in my life, when I continue to do the work, I'm going to come face to face with the truth about who I really am. So am I willing and do I have the courage and faith to continue in the process to get to the other side of fear? Because on the other side of fear is what God has for me. But if I allow fear to stop me from what He has for me, I'll never be able to experience what's over the horizon. Because there are new horizons in recovery. And if you're standing on the land and you look out to sea, all you see is that one horizon. But if you have the faith to come off of shore and walk into the waves and walk into the storms and walk into the winds, there will be a new horizon after the one that you initially saw. But if you stay on the beach, you'll never know what God has for you on the new horizon. So that's where my faith comes in. That even when there's a storm, even when people die, even when I don't get my way, no matter what happens around me, my faith will give me the ability to go to any lengths and continue to walk through my life and believe that God has something better on the other side. But do I believe it? Because God believes it. Other people may believe it, but do I believe it in myself? Do I believe it for myself? Am I willing? Because my faith, my actions will dictate whether I have faith or not. That's the proof. The proof is shown in the way that I live, not in what I say, but in what I do.
Come on now. All right. Woo.
And my prayer will activate my faith. So I've been scared a lot. And I've been through some storms in recovery. When I had 10 years clean, I'm grateful for the foundation. The steps will prepare me for what's ahead. So I need to get busy now. Conventions are great. The fellowship is great. Sharing is great. But what am I doing behind closed doors?
Come on.
Am I developing this relationship with God? There's a lot of things, and people have asked me, and I don't take credit for any of the gifts that I have and the life that I live. I give it to God. God gets the credit. But people have asked me, like, Mike, what do you do? What do you mean, what do I do? I do a lot of things that nobody sees. I've cried a lot of tears that nobody's seen. I've prayed a lot of prayers in the dark. When nobody's around. I've been up at night, countless nights over the years that I've been clean, with a broken heart. And God hears me. When my mom was dying from stage 4 cancer, when she was on her deathbed, and God had delivered me from anger and resentment towards her, where I learned about forgiveness. But I had a lot of sleepless nights. My faith is what gave me the ability to actually show up and spend time with my mother. Because when I was a scared, broken little boy, when I first got clean, I didn't have any type of relationship with my mom. My mom continued to use drugs, so it was hard for me to even have a relationship with her. But something happened here. Something changed in me because of the process of recovery, because of my prayer life, because me really, literally crying out to God in dark moments when I'm sad and I have a broken heart and I don't want to get out of bed. When I'm just depressed and I want to pull the covers over, I don't even want to go to work. But God, can you please help me? There's a spirit alive in me that allows me to continue to walk when I don't want to walk. There's something that lives in me that changed my heart and has given me a fire to continue to go to work when I don't want to go to work. When I have a broken, I don't want to show up for my mom, and I don't want to see her, skin and bones, laid in diapers with bed sores all over her. Like there's a power in narcotics. There's a power in the 11th step that has given me the ability to show up in darkness. And that's what I did. And I sat with my mom and I would wipe her tears and brush her hair and feed her. My father was her primary caretaker at that time on hospice. But we're given assignments here. And they're not about me. This isn't about me. What we do here isn't about us as individuals. It's so much bigger and so much greater. But I need to open up my eyes. I need to sit still in God's presence. And I remember when my mom passed away. And it was about a month after that when my father got re-diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. He had cancer some years prior, had his bladder removed, was in remission. My mom got sick, she passed away. My father got re-diagnosed. And right around this time is when I found out my wife at the time was cheating on me. We had bought a house together. I had this vision of what I thought my life was going to look like. I had plans. What do you do when all your plans fall apart? Do you have faith then? Do you really believe? Do I really believe? Even with a broken heart. Frustrated. Angry. Depressed at times. Anxiety. Do I still have the faith to continue to move forward? Do I still have the faith to pray? Do I still have the faith? Do I still believe that God is going to lead me through this? Because that's where my faith grew. That's where my faith really was developed. It was in a broken place. See, brokenness has become a blessing. But if I don't look at my brokenness as a blessing, I'll never do what it takes to heal from the brokenness. I'll just stay in it. Oh, this is how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be angry. I'm supposed to hate my mom for the rest of my life, even though she's not here no more. See, the disease wants me to stay the victim. But God has already declared me the victor.
That's right.
Do I believe it? And I started to believe. I started to pray more, not less. I started to develop intimacy with God in these dark times. And I remember walking my father around his nursing home and power of attorney over him and having to deal with the nurses and the doctors. And, my ringer had to be on 24 hours a day. Not getting much sleep for about another year and a half, going to work every night. Keeping my ringer on during the day when I'm trying to sleep, just in case the doctor calls, just in case they have a question, just in case he needs me to show up. Faith. See, faith is not about a feeling. It's about a belief. Faith isn't in what I can see. Faith is what I cannot see. And it took a while to get to a place where I understood and I believed and I started to live this way. Because with my physical sight, when my mother was dying and then my father was dying and he was on hospice and couldn't get out of a wheelchair, and walking through the divorce, finding out she was cheating on me, physically, it looked like everything was falling apart. But in reality, in the spirit realm, everything was coming together. See, God's will can change without my permission at any moment. No matter where I am, what I'm doing, I could be living a spiritual life, and His will can change. And the plans can change. And things can get switched up very quickly. See, the steps, acceptance, love, and faith will give me the ability to meet adversity with serenity. It talks about that in the Living Clean. And I was angry, I was frustrated. My ego wanted to get in the way when I found out my ex was cheating on me. And I cried, and I wept, and I had to live with a broken heart. But that was the least amount of the pain, the divorce. It was watching my parents die that destroyed me. But still having the ability, because I know through an 11th step, God will give me the power to carry out His will in my life. See, sometimes I can get confused. What's God's will? What's not God's will? But I need to continue to show up for life to find out if I'm on the path of His will or not. Because there are good plans and then there's God's plan. There's good options and then there's God's. See, I needed to develop discernment. I didn't have the best, what they call it, a picker in relationships. Believe me, Ed will tell you stories. Russell knows. Some of you may know, but I didn't have the ability to be in a healthy relationship because I didn't have a relationship with God. I didn't have faith. See, the faith needs to trickle into all areas. I may have it here, but I didn't have it because I didn't really trust my mother, so it was hard for me to trust a romantic partner because I didn't have the ability to actually heal yet from the trauma and from the wounds and from the hurt that I was still carrying in my heart, because of the anger and resentment and fear will affect all areas of my life if it goes unaddressed for a long enough period of time. A lot of times we want to point the finger and blame people, places, and things for where we're at in our lives instead of looking at ourselves and understanding that more healing needs to take place in me before I can actually be with you. But I'll just settle for the scraps that you're willing to give me because I don't have the self-esteem or confidence yet to tell you no. And I don't have the ability to really teach you how to treat me. I'd rather be with you while you're cheating on me than be by myself. It takes faith to be alone. So after my divorce, that was something that was a priority for me. And I tried dating, but I knew right away whether I was going to have a future with the people I went on dates with. It didn't take me a month or 3 months. I knew within maybe a text conversation. I may have still went on the date just to see God's will. I don't know. Let me just show up anyway. Let me show up and be uncomfortable. Hopefully she can carry the conversation because I'm not great at it. You know what I mean? But there was fear. I can't allow one heartbreak to stop me from loving again.
That's right.
There's no faith in that. That's fear. So I'm starting to learn a lot more maturing in my faith and maturing in my recovery about like what I want and what's important to Mike. And discernment's hard. It's a spiritual gift. And it comes from God. So if I don't have a relationship with Him, I won't be able to really discern what's healthy for me. Is this healthy or unhealthy? I'm attracted to unhealthy. There's something in me that still gravitates towards unhealthy. I want to be unhealthy let's be unhealthy together. We can feed off each other's sickness and defects. It's exciting. I'll stalk you, I'll drive past your house, I'll touch your tailpipe to see if it's hot. I did that, that's me, years ago, not anymore. I don't know about if you do that down here, but I came back from a convention once in not North Carolina, where was I? I don't even remember where I was. Rhode Island. And my girlfriend at the time wasn't answering her phone, so I drove 4 hours, and then I drove straight to her house just to see why she wasn't answering me. And I walked right in her house, and she was sleeping in her bed. I'm like, Mike, you're out of your mind. This is clean. Promise you I wasn't smoking crack. I was paranoid in my clean time. I had so much fear that I couldn't see the truth about myself. So, walking through the divorce, burying both of my parents, having to walk through hardships, have been difficult, but there's a reward. We endure loss, but we can reclaim joy here.
That's right. That's right.
See, reclaiming means to take back.
That's right.
But you can't take something back if you never had it to begin with. So we need to develop our joy. We need to develop our faith, and it comes from God. Happiness is temporary, but joy is everlasting and ongoing as long as I cultivate it and I continue to work in that relationship that I've been able to develop with God over the years, because it's Him that met with me in my darkness. It's Him that met with me in my broken heart. It's Him that met with me when I was sad. It's Him that met with me when I had to walk through the storms of life. It was Him who met with me. His grace and His love they started to make more sense to me in the difficult times of my life. See, God doesn't send the storms to drown us. He sends the storms to cleanse our hearts of what's not of Him, so we can actually go on a mission in life and be of service to other people and allow Him to work through us, because we understand it's no longer about us, and it's about being of service to God and to other people so they can benefit from our experience, our strength, and our hope. See, if the pain, if the suffering helps one person, then it was worth it, but I'll never have that recovery or that perspective if I'm not in the process of developing my faith from fear to a place where I understand that my life is no longer about me, because I found out that my life needs to be rooted in the 12 steps and rooted in selflessness and rooted in faith, so I can go on to live the life that God created me to live. I don't want to live the life that I want to live anymore. I want to live the life that He created me to live, with the purpose and mission that He has placed inside of me. See, I can find purpose through the pains of living. I can find purpose through all the suffering, as long as I understand that the suffering isn't necessarily for me. It can be for me, because it has helped me grow to the man that I am today. A man of faith, a man of principle, a man that believes that we can do anything together that I can't do by myself. So the humility that is important for me to continue to grow and allow God to work in my life, but I need to continue to put the action in. I need to pray. I need to get on my knees sometimes. I need to make the phone call. I need to go to meetings. I need to raise my hand. I need to carry our message, because the literature says if we stop carrying the message, we go back to sleep. I don't want to go back to sleep spiritually anymore, because God resurrected something in me that was once dead is now alive. So now I want to allow this Spirit to help you and transform you and understand that it's not me. So if you were touched by anything that I said today, and if you choose to clap, When we're all said and done, you're clapping for God. You're not clapping for me. God has taken me from the pits of hell and placed me in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, and the 12 steps have changed me from a scared, broken little boy when I got here at 23 years old to a man that believes in what we do here, a man of faith, a man that believes in the newcomer, a man that believes in the group, a man that believes that as long as we stay rooted in faith, that all things are possible. No matter what comes against us, we'll be able to persevere and get to the other side. I came out of that storm for 3.5 years. I didn't come out more broken. I came out more whole. I didn't come out with more fear. I came out with more faith. I didn't come out with more ego. I came out with more humility. I came out with more courage. Why? Because I'm so great? No, because I serve a great God that met with me in my brokenness and gave me the strength and gave me the courage to continue to show up for my life and be the son that he created me to be, not the one that I thought I would be. See, I don't get to pick and choose my circumstances, but I do get to pick and choose who I allow to guide me through my circumstances. So I'm grateful to God. I'm grateful to Narcotics Anonymous. I'm a product of what we do here. I'm a product of the 12 steps. I'm a product, not a finished product, but I'm a product of sponsorship, and I am a product of faith, because I understand that without faith, I can never go on to live the life that God wants me to live. So I want to thank you guys for listening. That's all I got.